He has been taverned back. That's not a big surprise. Th000 has such high income that he can afford to do this. But you can just see this is so nice by Thorzain. These mass Dragonhawk Riders with the 2 attack upgrades and 1 armor upgrade can really take down those Dryads really quickly. You need to not be focusing down the heroes, so that's a big factor. Meanwhile, these Griffin Riders should, well, actually can only be focusing down the heroes. Potion of magic invulnerability being used by the Warden now, who is in a bit of trouble. This Panda in a lot of trouble, gonna be picked up by that Zeppelin. Wow, at the last second there, that Panda being picked up by that Zeppelin, and the Zeppelin being chased down now. I don't think he will manage to get away. But meanwhile, Th000 just continuing to fight. These Spirits of Vengeance are so nice against Dragonhawk Riders. And did that Panda get away? That Panda did get away. That's very nicely fed there by Th000. And you can see these, I think, obviously you shouldn't, but Thorzain should probably focus down this Avatar of Vengeance just to get rid of these Spirits of Vengeance, because once the Avatar dies, the Spirits die as well, and that's just so important, because you can see just how much damage these things do, even to these towers as well. And so a very nice holding off of this push by Th000, despite not having any usable heroes. His Warden is now coming back in, having got mana and health back. Might even use a blink just to try and get good positioning on one of the heroes. We'll have to see what hero he goes for. Obviously with level 4 Paladin, it's pretty hard to take down any hero, but it looks like he's going to be going for this Mountain King. Mountain King being passed in Von Pot, actually having silence used on him as well. That's really nice there by him. And this Warden so close to level 7 actually, but being bolted now and in a bit of trouble. Actually a bash there going off for Thorzain means that Th000 definitely needs to get out of there after just coming back in from healing, and we'll need to blink away as well. But more Dryads coming in. Obviously Th000 can have a really steady stream of Dryads now that he has all these mines up. And Thorzain unfortunately not using his it's time to maybe set up another expansion. That would have been quite a nice move, because he has now he is now mining just off one base, and Th000 could probably just blink in here and do a fair bit of harassment before Thorzain could react. And so I think it'd really serve Thorzain well if he could put up at least one more mine, maybe even 2. He does have a peasant here which might start building a mine. We'll have to see. Yes, there's the town hall there, and there's Avatar of Vengeance. Looks like he probably will go down now. It's really worthwhile taking those down if you're in a situation where these Spirits of Vengeance are doing so much damage to you, especially considering he has a level 6 Archmage and a level 5 Mountain King. You can so easily sort of waste your mana on taking down that Spirit of Vengeance, and then still have a whole bunch of more mana left for later. But looks, these Dryads just so good against these Dragonhawk Riders in low numbers, and where Thorzain doesn't have good positioning, so he really needs to get out of there. And that's very nice use of his mass teleport spell. And looks like Thorzain actually setting up another expansion here, so it looks like he's going to be taking the islands. We'll have to see whether or not Th000 can we'll spend the money to use reveals just to try and find them. He does have the ability to, but it's whether he'll take the initiative and whether he senses that there's other mines going up that he's not aware of. And Th000 now really in a bit of a dominating position for the first time in a while, just because his army took such a beating recently, and he's lost his Panda, but the Panda is back and 5, so he will be able to get one breath of fire off there. And it looks like he might just go for sort of a war of attrition, just trying to gradually break down Thorzain and push him off. And we'll have to see. Actually, we can take a look to see whether or not Th000's actually scouted these bases. He scouted this one which you had blinked into, but he hasn't scouted any. He hasn't scouted the other island, and so it's looking quite good for Thorzain at this point, because Th000 just needs to keep on pushing and thinking he has the advantage, but actually he doesn't, and that could be a bit of a problem for Th000. And looks like we're going to have a haze fire going off here. Yes, there it is. There it goes there, and you can see these Dragonhawk Riders good initially, but just actually one getting sapped out there. That's quite nice, but it looks like he might be in a bit of trouble nonetheless. And these Dragonhawk Riders, it'd be nice to try and distance from them now. And Paladin actually have very low health. You might have Divine Shields not on cooldown. Actually, he doesn't need it, but he might well need it in the future, because if one blink from a Warden and then a Shadow Strike or a Phantom Rise or anything will kill that Paladin. So it would be it is quite important. But bolt going off there, and rejuvenation on that Warden means that he will be in. He will be okay. And looks like Thorzain will have to get out of there and leave his base just to be sacked by Th000. So what a game so far. And as I was saying, it would be quite nice to transition away from these Dragonhawk Riders now, because Th000 just has gone for so many Dryads. They're 3/3 upgraded as well, and really, I mean, Th000 can really afford to do this, and I think he must have, yeah, he does have one Shredder, and 2,000 gold and 1,000 lumber, and at 78 food, so really in a nice position. And it looks like Th000 set up another expansion here. He's unable to creep it out at the moment, so he's just building the wisps, and he'll probably go and creep that out pretty soon. And these sentry wards, unfortunately, maybe he sold the other. Oh no, actually, it must be very obvious to Th000 that at least one other campsman, island campsman, crept just by the items that he's seen Thorzain have. And so Thorzain finally mining from this one, and looks like he's going to be going for a counterattack here. Obviously with that level 6 Archmage, you just get so much mobility, and that's really what Thorzain needs to be using at this point, because with the exception of the possibility of Storm, Earth and Fire in the future, Th000 doesn't really have a any sort of way of cancelling that mass teleport, and you can just see trading a TP for mass teleport, very good deal for Thorzain, and if he is going to win this game, this would be a very important thing to play. And looks like there's one panda staffing out, probably to the base. No, actually, must have been staffing. One Ancient Protector going up here for Th000, who is at 82 food. The panda actually staffing here. Very nice use of the Zeppelin, and buying lots of items, but mass teleport being used now, and it looks like Th000 will need to get away. And this is one way of at least playing against mass teleport is just attacking on so many fronts that he has to move all his army at once, and at that point he really starts to take a hefty bit of damage, and because he can't defend everything. And what happened? Actually, Ancient Protector's still there. Unfortunately, he didn't walk it in yet, but Th000 bringing in his Ancient of War, and that'll probably cause a bit of distress. We'll have to see where Thorzain's TPing now. TPing to hit the remnants of his base, actually, where he's still building griffins. I'm surprised Th000 didn't take out these griffin aviaries. That would have been very annoying for Thorzain to try and rebuild, because he doesn't have any anything above tier 1 at this point, and so he would have to attack all the way to tier 2 and then rebuild his griffin aviaries, and so that could be a very nice crippling attack. We were talking actually about in the stream what Th000 could what Thorzain could transition to, because it's a bit tricky. You don't really want to be going for much more many more Dragonhawks, because they're just being destroyed. Griffin's not too great because there's so many Dryads out, and so there were a couple of suggestions going about. I thought sort of a Knight's Breaker, sort of maybe some priests in there as well would be quite nice at this point, because of those tri-heroes, and we were discussing mortars as well, and actually the commentator was insisting that mortars were the worst idea ever, and I didn't agree with him at all. But sorry, what am I saying? I was saying that mortars were the worst idea ever, and he was saying that they would actually be pretty good against those Dryads, despite the heroes, and he was saying all kinds of rubbish. But I have a very particular way of casting, and I always think that I'm right, and I'm sure I'm not, but I mean, well, I'm not, but I always think I'm right, and whenever I hear someone casting and I think they're wrong, it just makes me want to die, basically. But it was the only stream that I could watch these games on live, and they were very exciting games. They're very much worth watching live. And Panda now coming in, just gonna get more Breath of Fire. Very nice Breath of Fire there, and gonna actually use a Zeppelin to get out of there. Maybe trying to bait a mass TP, but actually this is one other thing that we were talking about, was us splitting up the Dragonhawk Riders from the rest of the army. This is quite nice just for harassment. It's not just like picking off wisps like you might get in harassment, but it's actually just like this sort of situation here, where it's just Dryads versus Dragonhawk Riders. Dragonhawk Riders will actually do very well in this situation because there's no Panda nearby, and Panda could staff in, but hasn't yet, at least. And at that point the Dragonhawk Riders can just fly away, and looks like Th000 actually dropping back in now, and Thorzain was preparing something by the looks of things, but actually it died anyways, and so Th000 just gonna chase down these couple units, not even gonna waste a Breath of Fire at this point, just gonna kill them manually. And Thorzain, knowing that this mine is in a bit of trouble, but meanwhile counter-attacking and taking out one of Th000's mines, and might be able to take out these wisps as well. We'll see whether or not he just decides to TP on or not. And we are seeing Th000 continuing to harass this, using mass TP actually just to get rid of this Panda, who is now 6, and so in theory at least, good use of the Panda could stop a mass TP from going off, but it looks like actually a TP being used by Thorzain there, just so that the bolt can't cancel it, because both sides can have their TP cancelled, and it looks like Thu still with a couple mines going. Certainly he's being harassed, and this one mine needing to be repaired, but Thorzain really playing a lot better at this point, just because he's started to play a bit differently in terms of his style. Has a couple Zeppelins sitting around there, and the mass TP being used to get to this peasant. But I really like this strategy that Thorzain's been using, just using mass TP to get to hit the expansions, and then bringing all his griffins with him, and then actually having a couple Dragonhawk riders with him as well, just for those dryads. But actually, this one griffin rider completely unable to do anything. Basically, they should just be attacking the Tree of Life at this point, and looks like we are seeing more harassment now by Thorzain, who's really now coming back into this game. Unfortunately, he lost his castle before he could get the 3rd attack upgrade, which would be very nice at this point, but you can't have it all. And actually, one tower being built there by Thorzain, but being cancelled immediately, and Warden coming in, getting a fan of knives off, and it looks like this will be more than enough to chase away Thorzain, who will probably be using a mass TP